Alright, we're going to be rebuilding this OS 28. It's probably my favorite engine. Let me go ahead and strip it down. This engine probably has about like, I don't know, 4 gallons on it. Probably about to be 5 gallons. I've had it resting for a good while. I used to beat the absolute dog out of this engine. And it's time for a rebuild, yeah. I mean, this thing is it's been probably the best engine I've ever had. Let's see, it's been sitting with some Bones Brew. That's Bones Brew 3010. Still looks pretty good. I'm gonna go ahead and change out the connecting rod, the wrist pin, the circlips, and 2 fresh bearings. Alright, let's go ahead and get this cooling head off. Sleeve pops right out. Got the connecting rod and piston out. Alright, let's get this crankshaft out. Alright, there we go. Got it down in the bare block pretty fast. This is a super good engine. It's a shame they discontinued it a few years back. If they didn't discontinue this engine, I'd probably have like 5 or 6 of them just boxed up ready to go right now. This blows away any big block I've ever driven. This thing just got so much power. The ease of tuning with it being an OS. In my opinion, I'd rather have another one of these than a Novarasi 28.8 or you know, the crappy LRP 32s. That Bones 3010 leaves a really good oil film residue, so you really don't even need after run with that blend of fuel. Highly recommend Bones 3010. You can see the film residue everywhere, all over the piston right here. And this engine's been sitting for months. The sleeve is really well too. This thing ain't even modded. I've never had a need to get this engine modded. It's just the monster stock. This engine is really hot. It's like 300 degrees right now. We got both the bearings out. Only took about 5 minutes, not even. As you can see, this way works really well. You just got to be very careful since it's kind of dangerous. Here I ordered 2 Boca bearings. One ceramic for the rear and just a regular one for the front. It's super smooth. Go ahead and get one seal off of that so it can get oil. It doesn't matter which seal you take off as long as you just get one. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and oil up these bearings. Right here I have Marble Mystery. You can use whatever you like, clots. I mean, there's tons of other oils you can use. 3-in-1. Chainsaw oil. I'm just going to oil these bearings up a little bit. Anytime you're doing a rebuild, you always want to make sure you get everything well lubricated. You don't want to overdo it, but just get everything pretty well lubricated. Get your crankshaft filled with oil. I should be wearing gloves, but honestly, I really don't like wearing gloves. I like to be able to feel that every little nick of dirt is off of all my parts before I put it back in the engine. I feel like gloves won't allow you to feel that. So, yeah, just make sure you get everything oiled up. And here's a little trick. You're going to go ahead and throw your bearings on your crankshaft like this. Get this one like that, because that's how it seats in the engine with the crankshaft going in. And then you're going to get this one and face it this way with the seal facing outwards. Just like this, and let it sit so it'll shrink the metal. I'll show you a little trick later. You don't want any little speck of dirt or dust inside your engine, especially after you just took it apart and then are going to put it back together. That could lead to engine failure, and that's the last thing you want, especially after just buying brand new expensive parts to rebuild. So yeah, always make sure you clean it up really well. Here I'm using some shop towels. Shop towels work really well to clean up engines. If you don't want, sometimes when I get a brand new engine from the factory, I get brake cleaner and I take it outside and I disassemble the engine, and then I brake clean everything to get any metal shavings out of the engine, and that works really well. Never had any problems. Just make sure you get your engine really clean. You don't want no dirt or debris left in there. These engines are way too expensive to not take the simple little steps to make sure that they have a long, healthy life. We got a shim right there. This goes on the bottom of the cooling head in the combustion chamber. Just like that. And then I'm going to go ahead and clean up my sleeve. Make sure there's nothing, no dirt, anything, just like I did with the piston. This is a pretty pricey piston and sleeve combo. If I had to buy it brand new again, it's like 150 bucks, somewhere around there. I can buy a cheap SH engine for that price. But this engine blows away any SH engine in quality and power by miles and miles. I'm just going to clean up the back plate a little bit. And I'm going to re-oil everything. Here's the new connecting rod, the new wrist pin. And some new circlips. These are really small, so you got to be extremely careful. So there's both circlips. You got to be really delicate when getting them out. They can just fly across the room and you will never see that again for as long as you live. So here we are. We're going to get the we're going to push the wrist pin through just like that. And you want to remember the orientation of this. So check it out. This is how this is going to go right here. Your connecting rod. You want to make sure your skirt to the piston and the orientation to your connecting rod is exactly the way you pull it off. So you're going to match it up, and you're just going to go ahead and pop it right back in like that. What am I doing? I'm already messing up. I'm about to use the old wrist pin. You pop in your new wrist pin. You always want that lubricated before you start the engine. Get right in here. Get in the little oil passages. Doesn't hurt to get in here. Just kind of lather it. Alright, I just cleaned my crankcase with brake cleaner outside. So I'm just going to dab some oil for the bearings where they sit. I still got to heat up the block and put the bearings back in, so I'm about to do that. But I just want to get some oil in there. Got the bearings out of the freezer. They're blistering cold. Okay. Boom. First one in just like that. It's a little hot. You don't need a whole lot, remember, just a little bit goes a long ways. Just get a film over everything, a light film. And you can go ahead and throw it all back together. Those are really smooth bearings. You always want to make sure you put your connecting rod with the piston in with the skirt facing back, because when you have your back plate right here, it's going to go in, right? And you see this little slot right here in your back plate? The little skirt right here is supposed to go down just like that every time it makes its full rotation. And that's another way to know which way your piston goes back inside the engine. So it's kind of hard to mess that up. And then since fingers are kind of too big to get in there, you can just get some pliers and lightly grab it like that. And then just press it down. And you're ready to put your sleeve in. Your sleeve is also directional too. There's a little notch for your sleeve to slide into. This little pin right here that sticks out of the engine on the top is meant for this notch right here. So you're going to slowly drop that in. Just get it in there. And then about halfway right there, you're just going to play with your crankshaft and it'll get your yeah, there you go. It'll come in pretty smoothly together, so you can drop that all the way down. It's super simple. Make sure you always have the piston up every time you put it in, or take the back plate out, because if you don't, you can break off your piston right there, and then there goes a lot of money you're gonna have to spend on a new piston, and yeah, that's not gonna be any fun. So now I'm ready for the cooling head. I already cleaned this earlier. Okay, goes just like that. And you get your 4 screws. I personally never Loctite these ever. I don't think you ever should. If anything, you could just drop a dab of oil on them so they don't go in super dry. I've been doing it like this for some years and it works great. So if you have another way of doing it, good for you. This is just how I do it. And of course, I think it's pretty common sense. You just go crisscross as you would with any engine, even a real engine, when you're putting the head back on. You just get them all down, and then you can slowly start tightening each one. Just get them real snug. Not super tight, but just snug. Now I'm just ready to throw back the carburetor. Clean up a little bit of that oil. Carburetor goes this way because I run this engine in Truggy. Always make sure to give that a little dab of oil because I cleaned that earlier. You don't want any dry O-rings anywhere. I'm just going to snug that because I'm going to adjust it later when I put it back in the truck. And that's it. That's how you rebuild an OS 28. That pretty much goes for almost any other nitro engine that goes for all land vehicles. It's that simple. That's not really a how-to. I'm showing you guys. This is just me showing y'all the rebuild of my engine. There's many other how-tos out there. If you want a really good how-to, or you want to check out how to rebuild and just a ton of other massive knowledge on nitro engines, check out the Bug 404. His channel, he has a lot of good stuff. He does tons of nitro engine rebuilds constantly. I'm more of a basher channel, but I do a lot of nitro, so I just wanted to show you this little rebuild of this OS 28 I got. This engine's been shelved for a long time. It's probably been like 5 months, 6 months almost since I've ran the engine, and I just needed to rebuild it and get it back out there. So thanks guys for checking that out. See y'all soon.